now are Democratic strategists Marianne Marsh and Harlan Hale. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Harlan, what do you think? Is this a good idea? Clinton decides to pull out of this debate and not debate Bernie Sanders?
So at this point, I think that she's afraid of really two actors. One is Bernie Sanders. She doesn't want to face him again going into California. But two, I think that she's afraid to face a Fox News debate. Not to toot everybody's horn here, but, you know, she's really gotten a pass at so many debates leading up to now between CNN and MSNBC. You know, getting a hug at the end of the MSNBC debate from Rachel Maddow. It's just really outrageous. And I think if she were to face a line of tough questioning, she may not hold up to it. Yeah,
so, I mean, it feels like, Marianne, given the fact that Bernie Sanders keeps winning all of these states, that she should be almost pressured to participate in this debate. But she's looking at Donald Trump in November.
Right. I mean, like Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton is the nominee, and that's a fact. And they will both be declared officially the nominees of their party at 8 o'clock on June 7th when New Jersey polls closes, because then they will both have exactly the number of delegates they need to be officially the nominee. So the next time you'll see either of them debate will be in the general election. So in terms of the Fox News debate, sure, it would have been nice, but if she were my client, I would have told her not to, because Bernie Sanders at this point is more interested in tearing down Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party than doing anything to beat Donald Trump. And the evidence proves that. So she has nothing to gain by debating Bernie Sanders at this point, because it's just more fodder for Donald Trump to use against her. Donald Trump's attacks largely coming from Bernie Sanders' attacks against her in these last few weeks.
And that's what she says, Dagan. She says, look, I am the nominee. I will be the nominee.
Right, and if she gets on stage with Bernie Sanders, it will look like she's conceding that she hasn't won the nomination.
Okay. Well, because she hasn't won it yet. Yeah, we're looking forward to New Jersey. She doesn't have the requisite delegates.
What do you mean that's not true?
Wait a minute, Harlan, you cannot say that Donald Trump is the nominee and Hillary Clinton is not, when actually
Donald Trump doesn't have an opponent anymore. Donald Trump doesn't have an opponent. She does.
Excuse me, as we know from the previous reports today, Ted Cruz is taking all the delegates in Washington State, and he has yet not. So Hillary Clinton actually has fewer delegates to get to her number than Donald Trump does to his number. They're both the nominees.
But the reality is she still has gotten an opponent.
Right.
She has a huge distraction Donald Trump doesn't have. He has this window of opportunity where it's just him. And she's got this distraction of Bernie Sanders that just won't go away, and she can't answer the question, what do we do with Bernie?
Well, and speaking of questions, the biggest question that she's got to be worried about, and she can avoid it now, but she's going to get hit with it in a general election debate, is about the email server. Because Bernie Sanders last fall, when he said, the American people are sick of hearing about
your damn email. Get the damn email.
She's gotten a pass on this from him. Now, and if she gets on stage in front of our top-notch moderators, she's going to get asked about it. So she's trying to delay that as long as she can.
That's probably
what happens to Bernie Sanders when they get to the convention, and if there's a Clinton administration, is there any place for him, particularly at the convention?
Well, I think you're already seeing that. I mean, the fact is Bernie Sanders yesterday was able to appoint 5 people to the platform committee. I expect Ted Cruz to do the same thing. It's like the political equivalent of a hostage video, okay? Here's my negotiation. Here's what I want. And I think I expect to see Bernie Sanders speak at the convention as well. I think the real question here is, when the platform gets put together, does Bernie Sanders push some of those platform items that are outside of whatever gets put together and tries to get delegates to vote against them? Will there be a floor fight? I think that's the real question.
I think this is a big issue. This is the platform, because the truth is Harlan, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Barack Obama have pushed this party all the way to the left. I mean, characterize the party right now for us. Do you believe that it is much more left-leaning than perhaps 8 years ago?
Oh, without question. Without question. I think it's even more left-leaning now than it was 6 months ago.
Totally agree.
But, yeah, I mean, perception's everything, and a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters feel like they're getting screwed. So this idea that this election's baked and that they're going to come over at the end, I think is far-fetched.
Well, this also raises the question of the window of opportunity that Trump has, because if Hillary is being pushed to the left by Bernie, then this is his moment to move into that center space.
And Jerry Seib has a column about this very thing in the Wall Street Journal
today. What does it say?
It's just he employed to the opening of it is, let's deploy a football metaphor. There's a great opening for her to move to the ideological center, but she's trapped in the backfield by Senator Bernie Sanders and his supporters.
Exactly. And
she's trapped on the left.
Trapped on the left, and the whole party is being pushed so much more. We got to talk about Virginia Governor McAuliffe, longtime Clinton supporter Terry McAuliffe, now now being investigated, the subject of a Justice Department investigation over whether he received illegal campaign donations back in 2013. Does this spell bad news for Hillary? What's your take?
Well, look, McAuliffe was a long-time fundraiser for the Clintons. And this is just the same sort of narrative, the same sort of story that we've seen. Hillary Clinton has this cloud of investigations and innuendo. This just fuels that. You know, Terry McAuliffe goes back to the 90s, and he's had past scandals that are assigned to him. You know, and this guy that's tied in with this investigation, Wang, you know, he's committed $2 million to the Clinton Global Initiative.
Right.
Okay, so you can't move away from it if you're a Clinton.
About the foundation, Harlan. And the fact is, you know, some people feel that the foundation situation or investigation is going to be even more damning than the email scandal.
It could be, certainly. I mean, look, $100 million from the Saudis, you have all this money coming from Univision. Any, like, tin pot dictatorship that wants to influence the Hillary Clinton administration has given to her through some conduit. So, once again, this kind of is reminiscent of Terry McAuliffe's tenure at the DNC, Debbie Wasserman Schultz's tenure at the DNC, and the Clintons' long track record, 30 years. Where they're sort of reminiscent of a criminal organization masquerading as a political party.
I just want to know when my home state of Virginia turned into New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of political corruption, given our past governor and the current governor.
Yeah.
I just throw my hands up.
Yeah. Marianne, final word from you.
I believe in dealing in facts, and so when you become the nominee of the party, that's based on numbers and facts. I think investigations should be based on facts. It's always disappointing to see the leaks that come out of the Justice Department, the FBI, and others. Lots of cheap shots and speculation I just heard, unfortunately, and I think it's important to wait and see what the facts are.
He is under investigation, though, Marianne.
Well, here are the facts. Yes, he is for his governor's race. And the fact is, Mr. Wang is a U.S. permanent resident, which allows him to contribute to campaigns and nonprofit institutions across the board. And the Clinton Global Foundation is not under investigation. So,
it should be.
The email investigation is wrapping up, and we still don't know the facts. So I always think it's fair to wait till the facts come out and people render their judgments.
No, you're
Harlan, unfortunately, you've chosen not to engage in facts.
But you know what?
I'm going to do my own facts.
Wait a second. We know that they're looking at the foundation, Marianne, because of business that was in front of the State Department at the same time that the Clinton Global Foundation was getting donations. That we do know.
And let's see what comes out of these investigations.
And we know that she stored her emails
politically
in her home.
than the actual judgments normally that come out, and yet the damage is already done. And I think that's the really unfair part here.
All right. Marianne Marsh, Harlan.